Hello there, dear friends, and welcome once again to the Relaxed Fantasy Review. Today, we're continuing our series on spellcasting in the brand new Player's Handbook, talking about the different classes and their recommended spell lists. Today we're moving on to a new caster, the Druid. Not new for D&D, but new for us. And we're going to start right at the beginning with their cantrips. Druids actually have less cantrips than a lot of other casters, not in their selection, but in how many they get. At level 1, when you build yourself a brand new druid, you get a grand total of 2 cantrips. Now, it's very possible you might have others from your origin feat, if it's Magic Initiate, or even from your species, depending on which one you pick. But assuming that you don't, you just get 2 of them, so they have to be good. I've prepared a top 5 list from the Druid's spell list, 2 that are focused on utility, 2 that are focused on combat, and an honorable mention. I usually recommend that people try to split their spell list between utility and combat, depending on their play style and the campaign that they're in. Before we get to the details of this list, though, I'd like to let you know, Relaxed Fantasy Review has memberships. For just $1 a month, you can support me here on YouTube and get some benefits. You get a badge next to your name in the comments, letting folks know you're a supporter. You get early access to my videos a day earlier than everyone else. You also get VIP access in my community Discord, where I'm talking about some of the new projects that I'm doing over the next few months. If any of that sounds interesting to you, you can click the join button just down there next to the subscribe button. And if it doesn't sound interesting, that's fine too. Just being here, watching the video, liking and subscribing to the channel, joining in the conversation in the Discord where it's free to join. All of these are wonderful ways to support me. So thank you for watching my content here on YouTube. All right, let's go ahead and start with the utility spell. We'll talk about the number 2 utility spell for my recommendation, and that is Message. Message is an interesting spell, which got a nice little buff in the 2024 rules. Now, when you point at a creature and whisper the message, there's no vocal component. Basically, you point at a creature, they can actually be on the other side of a wall if you know that they're over there. But, you know, you gotta point at them, and then you cast the spell, and then you whisper a message, and only they can hear it. This is effectively silent communication. I understand that there is a somatic component involved, so people might notice you casting it, but it's less likely now that there's no verbal component. That is a solid upgrade, and as a druid who, you know, maybe an animal form or something, sneaking in somewhere, and then they transform back into their humanoid form, they might need to communicate, and the message cantrip is a great way to do that. So that's my number 2 recommendation for the utility spells. As far as the combat spells go, my number 2 recommendation for that one is Thorn Whip. This is a druid classic. And it's a very simple spell. You attack with a whip of thorns. You target a creature, you target them with an attack roll, so this is something that you have to hit their AC with. And if you hit them, you do a d6 of damage, so it's not super strong, but then you drag them 10 feet towards you. This is actually a very handy thing, as forced movement on the battlefield allows you to position creatures where you want them to be, perhaps drag them through area of effects or hazards, or even off of cliffs if you really know what you're doing. Thorn Whip is just the druid's way of doing it, and honestly, that by itself is the valuable thing. It's not necessarily the damage that matters, it's the battlefield control that matters. So I give it number 2 for the combat. Before we get to the number 1s, I will mention the honorable mention here, Spare the Dying. I have this written down as a combat spell, even though it is a utility spell in the sense that it doesn't hurt creatures, but you wouldn't be using it outside of combat. Because you cast it as an action, it's got a range of 15 feet, which actually goes up as the cantrip scales. Rather than doing a stronger effect, it grants the effect further away as it cantrip scales up. And you just do it when a creature is making death saves, when they're at 0 hit points, unconscious, and unstable. And Spare the Dying just stabilizes them. No more death saving throws, you are now just unconscious. And it's a very handy thing for when nothing else is available. Medicine checks can be unreliable, healing potions are expensive, and spell slots are at a premium, especially at the low levels of play. If you're casting a first level spell when you're level 1 on Healing Word, that's half of your mana, or half of your magic. And yeah, if you don't have the luxury of saving your spell slots for healing, Spare the Dying could be a good alternative. It is, of course, also a premium to have a Druid Cantrip, but I have to throw this in as an honorable mention, since it also got a nice upgrade with its distance casting and its distance improvements in the new Player's Handbook. Alright, as far as the number 1 combat spell for my recommendation, I don't think this is going to surprise anyone, it's Shillelagh. Shillelagh is such a classic Druid cantrip and well known and loved amongst the community. You cast it as a bonus action, and you touch a wooden weapon, a quarterstaff or a club. This then becomes magical. You can hit with it, dealing force damage, a d8 of force damage at the low levels. The damage then scales as you level up to a d10, d12, and eventually to d6, meaning that this quarterstaff or club is hitting like a greatsword. It also means you can attack with your spellcasting modifier. In this case, that would be Wisdom. But technically speaking, if you get Shillelagh in a different class, like from Magic Initiate Druid, it doesn't specify that it has to be Wisdom. So wizards and sorcerers and warlocks and all the rest of them can actually use Shillelagh in specific kinds of builds. Now, it doesn't give you extra attack, but with nothing but a bonus action, you can give yourself an enhanced weapon. And doing force damage, doing a decent amount of it, in fact, is great. I love pairing this with Polearm Master because that works with quarterstaffs. All in all, Shillelagh is a wonderful spell. I've seen it used many a time by druids. I've actually got a warlock in my party right now, an Archfey warlock, that took Magic Initiate Druid and uses this instead of Pact of the Blade. Is it better than Pact of the Blade? No, but it is still a really, really good option. So number 1 in combat, Shillelagh. But our number 1 in utility, again, this is going to surprise no one because it's arguably the best cantrip in the game, Guidance. Druids do get access to Guidance. You cast it as an action, concentrate on it for a minute, target a creature, and for the next minute, they get an extra d4 added to an ability check of your choice. Rogue's about to go stealthin, Guidance, and then he gets a minute boost to his stealth. Bard's about to use Charm and try to persuade someone, give him that extra d4 in Persuasion. If the fighter's about to go into combat and they need a buff to their athletics for some reason, this will work. It's genuinely just that good of a spell because you can use it over and over again. Every time you cast it, you're granting that d4, and if you need to do it out of combat, that's usually when people will do skill checks. And it works every time you need it. You just cast it, and there's your buff. This makes skill checks a lot less daunting, even at the low levels of play. A d4 is not nothing. That is 2 or 3 points added to a skill check. So I give it the number 1 spot, and honestly, that's just Guidance in general. One of the best cantrips out there. And that's it. If you are building your level 1 druid and you're uncertain what spells to take, I recommend grabbing Shillelagh and Guidance. If you don't want to be up in melee combat like with Shillelagh, Thorn Whip is a nice alternative. If you do want to focus a little more on utility, Spare the Dying and Message are fine. I do recommend having at least 1 damage dealing cantrip, but that is my recommendation. If you'd rather build a more pacifist druid, or you want to focus on your weapons that aren't a Shillelagh, fair enough. Guidance and Message and Spare the Dying are all great. And yeah, I hope that helps. This has been the Relaxed Fantasy Review. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe down below. Have a look for the join button down there, and keep your eyes peeled for more spellcasting reviews coming down the line soon. Have a good one, my friends.